Hello everybody, welcome back to our playthrough of Neverwinter Nights, the original campaign. We're here in Aarin Gend's lodge, and we're going to talk to our last two companions, and then once we complete their quests and get their upgrade items, we will talk to Aarin Gend, deliver him the last word of power, and move into Act 4. Alright, start with Sharwyn.
Somehow I knew you couldn't be far. As soon as Aarin Gend mentioned why we were brought here, I began wondering when you would pop up.
It's good to see you again, Sharwyn. Did I say it was good to see you? I only said I knew you'd come. Haha, I only jest, COVID. Of course it's good to see that you are here. I wasn't going to come to Neverwinter as well originally. I figured I had done enough by your side. But the story isn't finished just yet, is it? And you know that what a sucker I am for a good tale. So, what do you say then, COVID? Shall we join together again? I want to see this unfold firsthand. Do you know anything about the words of power, Sharwyn? No, nothing at all. I find that strange too. I know considerable lore, yet neither I nor any of the tomes I've researched mention them. I have an idea of where to look, however. Where? South of Fort Ilkard, there's supposed to be some ancient ruins, older than any settlement in the Northlands by far, so the tales say. It was supposedly once the home of a creator race that predates even the elves, if you can imagine that. I've never heard of anyone returning from it, though, so it could be anything. The magic power in the area is supposed to be incredible. There are stone monoliths which are too dangerous even to approach, which would give me even more reason to believe the woods may be up there. I'd be honored to have you join up with me again, Sharwyn. Then I'm at your disposal once again, COVID.
Yes? Is there something you need?
I just want to talk for a while. Talk? About what, COVID? How about telling me a tale, Sharwyn? You're a bard, after all. I normally save my best tales for taverns with a full audience. Why should I recount a tale only for you, COVID? Because I asked you nicely? Oh ho. So, COVID puts on a pleasant tone, and I'm supposed to jump to please him, is it? Ha ha. Is that it? I'll tell you what, COVID. I'll tell you a tale, if you promise to listen attentively and be a proper audience. I can do that. Oh, whoops. Accidentally fat-fingered it. Chose the second option. I'll get on with it already. Impatient, are we? I'll take that as an agreement, then, and I'll hold you to it. But what story shall I tell, then? Shall I tell a tale of the great COVID, savior of Neverwinter, and his search of the words of power? I think I know that one. Not like I tell it, believe me. You're probably right, however. The subject matter would be a bit familiar, and I'm a bit fuzzy on the ending. How about the sad tale of the great Lady Erebeth, torn between love and honor, fallen from the grace of Tyr? That's not very funny. You never said you wanted to hear a comedy, COVID. Erebeth's tale is a sad one, but no matter. I think of something else. How about a tale of the great Lord Nasher? How about how the man was in his glory days, before he became a sad old ruler? How about something original? You're going to be picky, aren't you? Very well, then. Give me some time to think about it. For now, let's continue with the making of our own tale.
Yes? Is there something you need?
Alright. I thought about which story to tell you, COVID. It's an old one. The story of Tamerlane and the Song of Love. Love? Oh, ick. No, let's go with this. It better be good. 3. Sounds promising. We'll go with that one. Be a pleasant audience, you know? I'm so happy you approve. Now, since you promised to be a good audience, be quiet for once. Tamerlane was an elven bard, one of the most talented and famous from an age ago. At the peak of his life, he was happily married with numerous children, yet still he felt he had left something undone. He bid his children a tearful farewell one day, hugging his faithful wife close to his breast, and promised to return as he began the great quest for his long life. For decades he searched for Hanali Selanil, the elven goddess of love. He called to her from her temples, walked the fields of Arvindor, serenaded her from the highest mountaintops, just when he thought he could search no more, and his thoughts turned to his long-lost wife and children. Hanali Selanil came to him at long last. She was the most beautiful of elves, her eyes warm and clad in a gown of silver and gold. Thou hast sought me out, she spoke, and I have come. What dost thou desire of me? Tamerlane was almost overcome by her beauty, but still he spoke. Hanali Selanil, he said, also called Lady Goldheart, the winsome rose, the mother of sadness, I wish a boon. I desire to know the true meaning of love, so that I may write a song to stir the hearts of mortal and immortal alike. Would you grant me this boon?" The goddess thought of it on his offer, and smiled. "I am the three who are one, child. Perform a task for each of us, and you shall know the true meaning of love, and be rewarded." "Three who are one?" "Yes. The queen of Arvindor is the elven goddess On Angarad. But she is commonly thought as three goddesses, three aspects, who together are one, the triune. Reminds me of Catholicism. One, of course, is Hanali Selenil, goddess of love, and the gold elves. One is Erdri Feyenya, goddess of the sky, and the winged Averiel. The third is Sehanine Moonbow, goddess of the dreams and the moon elves. Tamerlane readily agreed to perform the tasks, of course. That, however, I'll tell you another time, seeing as you interrupted and all. Oh, come on, tell me now. Haha, to be honest, COVID, I've forgotten how parts of the story goes. Let's just keep moving. I'll remember the rest eventually.
Yes? Is there something you need?
Fair enough. I think I'll remember how the rest of it goes now. I told you that Tamerlane had agreed to do a task for each of the triune, correct? The first task was for Airdri Feyenya. He was to retrieve the feather of the largest phoenix of the sky, to fly the skies of the deep southern lands. For many years, Tamerlane would scour the highest peaks of Termish and Chondath, follow the legends of the great birds, yet never spotting them. A century of hardship would pass before finally Tamerlane would return to that northern mountain, ragged but triumphantly holding the pinion feather of a great phoenix. For Sehanine Moonbow he would seek out remnants of each of our 3 moons that had fallen to the ground in a blaze of fire. For another century he would spend in search of them, long buried, long forgotten, and scattered. Finally, with tears in his eyes, he returned with the 3 rock shards in his hands. For Hanali Selenil he would seek the golden heart of a dragon, dead of simple age, one of the rarest things someone could seek. He willed at the thought, but was determined. For centuries he wandered, following rumor after rumor, until finally he came into the northern lands, when he heard of a wizened worm breathing his last. Tamerlane spent many years finding the creature, and then befriending him, singing to the aged dragon as he weakened slowly through the decades. When at last the great beast passed, Tamerlane was saddened, but also overjoyed that his quest was at an end. Before Tamerlane could return to the goddess, however, he was found by one of his own people. He was told the sad news that his beloved wife and children had died of a terrible illness during his absence. Torn by the news, Tamerlane wept and was railed with anger at the goddess who had kept him from his family for so long. She did not answer. Tamerlane poured his grief and his pain and his loss into a song. Since he could not sing of love, he would sing of this, sing of all that he had missed, and that this is what he sang to the goddess. And finally, Hanali Selenil came, with tears flowing from her golden eyes. "You understand at last the meaning of love, child. As I promised, you shall be rewarded." With that, she lifted Tamerlane up through the gates of Arvindor to join his wife and children, to spend eternity with them in paradise. And that is the end. That is a beautiful story. Thank you, COVID. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Why did you tell me that story, by the way? Well, I don't know how much of that legend might be true, but I know there's some truth to it. There really was an elven bard named Tamerlane, and that he really did die in this region. Supposedly, he actually did write a song before he died, or so the rumors say. He was one of the greatest bards that ever lived. That song would have to be a masterpiece. To get my hands on it, to have a chance to sing it, to bring it to the world, that would be everything, COVID. What are you talking? What about this? Is this the song you're talking about? It's written in Elven, and the notes. Oh my, that's Tamerlane's signature. That's it. This is it, COVID. How did you ever find it? It's lovely. He truly was a master. I almost thought it was a fairy tale, that it couldn't be true, but it is, isn't it? What are you going to do with it? I'm not sure. I want to sing it. I want to spread it just like Tamerlane intended it to be. I think. Perhaps I'll sing it to the elves first. Who knows? I'm not sure how I could ever repay you for this gift, COVID. I hope my friendship will be enough. Your friendship is repayment enough, Sharwyn. Thank you, COVID. I want you to know that I have no intention of running out on you. The song can wait. Your mission comes first. Let's go and end this then, and find your words of power. Then the end of our great tale awaits us. Alrighty. So we got an increase to our belt. Belt of the Performer +5. So we have +5 to Charisma and +4 to Perform and Persuade. Nice. Now let's talk to Linu.
My dear friend, it warms my heart to see your face again. Aarin Gend must have brought you here to help search for the words of power.
It's good to see you again, Linu. After Erebus' betrayal, I readied myself for a return to Everesca, yet somewhere deep inside I prayed that we would meet once more, COVID. When I heard of Aarin Gend's call for brave adventurers to serve the cause of Neverwinter to join the Lord's Alliance here at Barrowin as well, I knew that you could not resist such a grand opportunity. You were drawn to heroic deeds, like a glutton to a bakery, COVID. I grabbed the first ride out of town and came here. Well, the second ride actually got me here. Oh, Linu, what happened to the first ride? You make the sound as if... Oh, all right, never mind. I was supposed to hitch a ride with one of the supply wagons at first, but the wagon I was on broke. Broke? How did it break? Well, we had stopped for the night, and I had this nightmare of it that a dragon was chasing me. I woke up out of the dream and saw something large outlined against the moon. I should have known better. It didn't really look like a dragon, but I was frightened, so I cast the first spell that came to mind. The first blast of lightning did a little damage, but it was the following 3 that shattered it to tiny pieces. To little tiny pieces. Did the wagoneers throw you out? It was dark, and everyone was so shocked by the lightning that no one knew where it came from. I suppose that I probably should have told them it was me. I had to get here, though, and I will pay Lord Dasher back out of my own wages when we're done here. All right. Do you know anything about the words of power, Linu? I don't know where they would be, although I would think that such magic would most likely be associated with the ancient times. That leads me to think that there are some ruins farther south of here. What about them? I've read lately of ruins that contain traces of ancient cultures, whose knowledge of magic ran deeper than any living today. I am an elf of Everesca, a land where studying the mysteries of is more than a path, it is the highest calling. The ruins to the south call to me, as if they hide knowledge that is imperative to us. I suppose that it may just be my own heritage, driving me to study something as old and unusual as these ruins are reputed to be. But it might be even more than that. I will follow your lead as always, my dear COVID. You are a better judge of such things than I am. I would love to have you travel with me again, Linu. Then I shall endeavor to keep you alive once again, COVID. Just try occasionally to keep out of harm's way, something I think you are as bad as I am for getting in trouble.
Hey there, dear. What can I do for you?
Alright, just want to talk for a while. I love chatting with you, but don't you think we should focus on our mission right now? What made you decide that you should become a cleric? It's been a long time since someone asked me that question. I came to Sahini Moonbow when I was very young, which is unusual since my parents were both mages and followers of the god Corellon. It started when I was sent to Gandalin, Centristi's School for Potentials. You see, both my parents were deep into the mysteries and held positions of respect. It was assumed that I would take after my parents in the magical arts. What are potentials? All children of gifted wizards in Everesca are sent to special schools as potentials because they are expected to excel in furthering the art of spellcraft. My ability to get into trouble had already started by that age, but my parents had kept it quiet, thinking I would grow out of it. Okay, go on. The first day of classes was a disaster, but I don't think it had anything to do with my ability for spellcasting. I had insatiable curiosity, and Gandalin was a crotchety old master who expected all elven children to be patient, quiet, and orderly. I barely possess those traits now, let alone when I was a child. The master decided to open class with a powerful spell to awe us into submission to his tutelage. He turned his back, and I moved in. What do you mean by moved in? I just wanted to look at the spell components. They were very interesting, especially the wonderful gem he had sitting beside the circle. Well, he went to reach for the gem, and it wasn't there. The spell misfired, causing him to ooze purple smoke for weeks. So he kicked you out? Gandalin was well paid for training us. He didn't kick me out right away, but he never forgave me either. It also wasn't the only accident to befall the class when I was around. Despite all of this, I might still have become a wizardress. It wasn't if it wasn't for the little trip I took. That was an accident that will be long remembered in our fair city. My fate became sealed to my faith in Sehanine that day. What fate would that be? I will have to tell you of my dimension-hopping trip later. We have too much to do right now to tell that tale. We need to find the words of power for Aarin Gend if we are to save Neverwinter. Nah, man, we're going to complete that story right now.
What can I do for you?
I suppose you won't rest until I tell you about the accident that led to my becoming a cleric of Sehanine. I guess I can tell you, though it was a horrifying experience. I want to hear it. Was just over a month into our training when Gandalin decided to let us examine some of his collection of magical artifacts. He took us to his vault, the part where the lowered powered magic items were stored. We played with them for a while, but I was bored. That's troublesome. Bored children with magic items, I should say that's troubled. Being from a wizard's home, most of us had seen items like these quite a few times. I was hardly going to be impressed by a wand of magic missiles. I noticed that one of the doors had been left open, so I thought I would have a quick peek inside. I didn't mean to touch anything, but two of the other students came in behind me. One of them asked what I was doing. His voice sounded scared, causing me to jump into the air, but I didn't land on the floor. I didn't see the rope that was hung to keep people away from this one display. The hole I fell into was the doorway into another plane of existence, or at least that's what they told me later. According to Gandalin, no person, let alone child, should have survived that experience. How did you survive? All I know is that my body seemed to expand and contract at a horribly fast rate, like a hyperventilating toad. The feeling seemed to last for hours, but it was over in seconds. I can't explain it any better than that. When it stopped, I opened my eyes. What did you see? There was a large, gray, squishy thing that looked at me, with 20 large eyes. I whimpered a little. I remember that. Then it started to move. I don't think I've ever seen anything move so very fast. I screamed as it attacked and continued to scream as a bolt of glowing blue light ripped through its body just seconds before it could reach me. I sat on the ground, trembling uncontrollably. Arms enveloped my quaking form, and a soft voice whispered words into my ear. What did the voice say? I can only recall images of journeys and safety, of life and death, and of times to come. As the voice spoke, I began to feel very tired, and I drifted off to sleep. When I awoke, I was in a comfortable bed surrounded by a curtain that stretched up to the ceiling, and I could hear a man and woman's voice talking softly behind it. The voices were suddenly interrupted by the entrance of my master, who angrily asked why I was taken to the temple of Sehanine. A single word from the woman stopped him cold. How did she stop him? All she said was his name. He looked at her with a piercing stare. Then his eyes opened in surprise, and he sank to his knees. I was confused, having no idea who was standing by my bed. The only word my master could speak was her name, Sehanine. Wait, you were rescued by a goddess? The goddess came over and pulled the curtain back. She smiled and kissed me on the forehead. My child, she said, you have exceeded the boundaries of luck. A green light surrounded her body as she stepped back and disappeared. For years after that experience, people treated me with awe and called me the godchild. Sehanine did me a favor, though, but there were days when I wished she could have done it quieter. That does seem to stretch the limits of luck. Such is my life, bad and good luck in heaping amounts, like a gift of gold that crushes you under its weight. I have dedicated my life to the goddess. She gave me that gift, so I gave everything back to her. There is a task that she wishes me to accomplish, and that is why she chose to save my life. A task? I overheard a few of the words she shared with the high priest before my master came into the room. But that is a task for me, and should not be allowed to interfere with your quest. We have too much to do right now to tell the tale. We need to find the words of power for Aarin Gend if we are to save Neverwinter.
Hey there, dear. What can I do for you?
COVID Quarantine, you are my truest friend in the world. I now know that we must work together to accomplish all our quests. I told you I overheard Sehanine Mombo speaking with the head cleric of her order. The words that I heard would echo in my mind for the rest of my life. Tell me what they said. She told the elderly cleric that during her wanderings through this world she had come upon a forest of breathtaking oak trees that grew in the middle of a range of volcanoes. While she stood in contemplation and admiration of the oak, one of the volcanoes erupted. The lava streamed down the mountain, burning its way through every form of life in its path. What happened? The lava reached the edge of the forest and destroyed every single tree. This saddened Sehanine, but as she prepared to move away, she noticed something very unusual. The seeds of the tree were floating on top of the lava. Floating? They didn't burn up. When the lava cooled, the seeds broke open and small shoots came out of the shells to take root in the newly formed crust of earth. Within weeks, the forest had renewed itself, and the oak trees stood tall, defiant of the surrounding volcanoes and their fiery destruction. That's amazing. Sehanine was so smitten with the majesty of these trees that she made her favorite weapon from one of the bows. Sehanine left the forest, returning occasionally to enjoy the splendor of their beauty. One day she returned to find that the trees had disappeared. Not a single tree remained, which made her weep. What happened to them? Sehanine didn't know what had happened. She had been gone for several centuries, and there was no trace of the mighty volcanic oak trees left. This is my task, dear one. Sehanine thinks it possible that one day an elf priestess will find a seed of the volcanic oak and bring it to Everesca to be a symbol of rebirth for the elven people. With this symbol, as the oak is reborn through fiery death, our people might be rekindled in spirit, though we might face adversity. I must find this seed, though I know not where one might exist. That's all there is to tell, sweet Covid. I shall defend your life with my own until that day that Neverwinter is safe again. Some day fate might guide me to a seed. The goddess has led me to be here with you. With your help, I have recovered the chalice of Moonbow and found my husband's journal. You are my guide to restoring the volcanic oak to rebuild my people. I have an unusual seed right here. Is this it? Yes, that's the seed the goddess described. I'm sure of it. Oh, Covid, you've done it. There's nothing I could give you that could equal the gift you have given to the people of Everesca. You have proven that you are the best of friends to the elven people. I think you shall find that the pendant I gave you is now much stronger than before. Your friendship means more to me than any magic item. Thank you so much. Your friendship is the dearest part of my life right now, too. Still, do not overlook the power of that magic. You have unlocked the strongest magics of the pendant. Gendar, a human, proved the depths of his friendship to the elves years ago, and the pendant blessed him with quicker reflexes than most elves have. What will you do with the seed now, Linu? I will take the seed back to Everesca, where the place will be prepared for a whole forest of these oaks to grow. The elven population has been withdrawing from the larger population of Faerun at too quick a rate. Perhaps with this symbol, and the elven god's blessing, we can begin to replenish ourselves. The coming years will be an upheaval in elven society. If we are going to integrate ourselves more, then we will need strong leadership. Who will step up and assume that role? I have no idea. What about you? I don't really think I have the qualities necessary for leadership. I would be content with a place in the church, maybe build a new temple somewhere in human lands, and lend support to elves who have come out of seclusion. Whatever role I am given, with Sehanine to guide me, I shall endeavor to do what is best for my people and for the other people of this world. Though I know there is much to do in Everesca, I am in no rush to leave your side, dear one. As long as we have work to do, and you have a place for me, I shall remain with you, loyal to the end. Nice. Alright. So we have a new Pendant of the Elf +4. All that we had to identify it. I don't think we had to do that with others. This gives us immunity to mind-affecting spells and dexterity +4. It's pretty nice. If we didn't already have a helmet, that gave us the same immunity to mind-affecting spells. Let's end our companionship with Linu.
Hey there, dear. What can I do for you?
I think I'd do better off on my own. Oh, my friend, is this true? I can't give you your money back. Are you sure you want, this is what you want? Yes, go. And then I shall wait here until you have further need of me again. Please don't be long. Take care, Covid. Alright, nice. After all that, let me just check and make sure that we don't have any outstanding... Oh, we have to talk to, the druid first. Real quick. 1 second, before we hand over the word of power and head to Act 4. How's it going, Yusum?
Welcome, my child. Do you bring me news of the Uthgard elf tribe? Or is there some other purpose to your visit?
Zokin, leader of the Elk Tribe, asked me to show you this dreamcatcher to you. I recognize this Elf Tribe token. It is a symbol of truce and contrition. It must mean that Zokan is apologizing for what his tribe has done. I will send my emissaries at once to re-establish relations with the Elk Tribe people. You have done as I have asked, my child, and investigated this matter for me. As such, you have earned your reward. I do not have much to give, but please accept this ring for your efforts. Thank you, Yusum. You are most generous. Is there anything else I might do for you, child? I'll be going now. Go, child, and may a gentle breeze carry you safely to your destination like the summer winds that bring seeds to replenish your eternal forest. The eternal forest. Nice. So he gave us a ring, and most importantly, 750 experience points. That's what we really care about. This new ring is a ring of elemental resistance. Can't have too many of those. JK, you can definitely have too many. Alright. Now that that's settled, back to Aarin Gend. Yo, Aarin, how's it going, man?
I have just received the latest reports from the battlefield, and things are grim. The walls of Neverwinter have been breached, and the Lord's Alliance has retreated to Castle Never under the onslaught. Erebeth, with her intimate knowledge of our strategies, crushes our forces in every encounter. Half the city is under the control of her Luskan forces. And what of your mission? Have you found the success our troops have not?
I have another of the words of power here.
Finally, some good news. And not a moment too soon. Even now, I am preparing to leave for Castle Neverwinter, to help ensure the words I sent there for safekeeping are not captured by Erebeth. I might as well open my coffers to you before we go. The money was meant to fund the defense of the city, and you seem to have done more for that cause than anyone else. Better I give the funds to you than let the Luskan forces loot them. I will admit that I never had much faith in you. But you have proved me wrong. Take these 4,000 gold pieces as a reward. You have earned it. And there is more where that came from. If you accompany me to Neverwinter, to aid in defending the city. The Lord's Alliance desperately needs someone such as you.
Alright, let's switch over to Belt with Performer +5, our Profero's Ring +4, our Greater Mask of Persuasion, and our Nymph Cloak +3, which gives us 18 Charisma. Let's see what our Persuade is up to now. 22, not bad. And let's try and persuade him. You wouldn't happen to have any spare magical equipment that might prove useful in the defense of Neverwinter, would you?
I wish I had something to give you, but all such items have been sent to the battlefronts to aid in the war effort. Time grows short. We must return to Castle Never to defend its walls and the words of power within from Erebeth and Malcolm. We will leave right now if you are ready.
Alright, onward we go. I'm ready.
I only hope we are not too late.
The words of power, the tools of a creator race. Hadriline spoke of them as though they could shape worlds, and perhaps they had. With these in hand, victory would not be far behind, or so it was thought. While Aarin Gend searched for the ancient relics, Morgrim's army pressed their attacks against Neverwinter. Their dark magics and sheer numbers soon overwhelmed the defenders. The betrayer, Erebeth, was at the forefront when the walls were breached. The words of power, once thought safe within Castle Never, were in danger of falling to the enemy. And behind the invasion, an even greater evil, Morag, Queen of the Old Ones, had awoken.
Oh snap. Well, here we are in Act 4, or Chapter 4, and we will pick this up when we come back for our next episode. I'll catch you guys later.